I'm so thrilled to welcome today's guest, Valerie Bures, who is a partner of XAnge and head of DACH. XAnge is a French venture capital company that invests early in European entrepreneurs shaping the future of technologies. She began her career with Mrs.Sporty, which she co-founded at the age of 24 alongside tennis legend Steffi Graf and fitness expert Mark Mastrov. Later, in 2011, she established Pixformance Sports, bringing innovative digital solutions to the fitness and health market. They assisted therapists across 11 countries to provide exercise plans and digital feedback. She launched the fitness mirror VAHA internationally in 2020, leveraging the success of Pixformance. VAHA offers interactive personal training through a mirror surface with live courses and on-demand video. Notably, goalkeeper legend Manuel Neuer joined in 2021, and the company was successfully sold in late 2022. Wonderful. Welcome, Valerie. It's so great to have you here with me today.
Very, very nice. I'm so happy to be here.
Wonderful. So I'm going to get right into it and ask you, how did you get started as an entrepreneur? Did you come from an entrepreneurial family? What is your journey like?
Yes, I didn't feel that entrepreneurial when I did my studies, in a sense that I had this crazy dream, I'm doing my own business, and maybe also not the confidence. Even though my father is an entrepreneur, but as we also didn't live together, I didn't have this so close as maybe my kids have it. And then I had a bit of the dream to do something on my own, but more because I hoped that the lifestyle would be one which allows me to plan my own time and to have kids and still do career while maybe being a mother and having a family. So it felt like a faraway dream, but it only became, so to say, reality when I met my ex-husband, who was already on the path to do a business, and then I was happily to join after a while. So it was for me more a dream, and it took me a while till I was in that mode mentally and also felt confident enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of women can relate to your story and that journey of just wanting to do it, but not really having the confidence to truly go for it. And so you just mentioned one of my next questions, and I'm sure there are some more that you overcame. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome in the early days of your entrepreneurial journey, outside of the confidence factor?
Yeah, it's probably, I would say, if I would have anything I would do better now, is that there's so much information out. You can learn so much in a sense of just approaching people and ask them to work with them, or to talk to them and ask them specific questions, and not only say, we can have a coffee here, but actually being very specific in what you want to know, instead of thinking that you need others to do it together with. Because I believe that if you are feeling that you need others to accomplish things, you might take choices which cost you a lot of lifetime, instead of just learning it yourself, finding it out yourself, and then also really following your own path. And so I think I lost quite some time on believing that some things I just don't know, and that's why I should just find people to do it together with. And then in the end of the day, you might go for a compromise and waste a lot of time.
I can totally relate to that journey, Valerie, and really coming to a place within myself where I had to stop myself from thinking that someone else can do it better than I can.
Exactly.
And just having that faith, as you said, in your vision. And of course, yes, mentors are necessary, etc. But I think what you're speaking to, I can relate to in terms of always thinking that I'm going to find maybe a person to come into my business and work with me, partner with me, that will make it better. And it never really works out that way.
Exactly.
Yes, wonderful. And so you grew one of your companies to a nine-figure a year in revenue success before exiting. What would you say was instrumental in creating the level of growth and success that you achieved?
Oh, I think that's a funny also story because especially in the early days, people were sometimes let's say giving me the feedback that I would be more of a micromanager than leading the company. And it was true. And I believe it's actually quite important to be a micromanager in all areas of the business where you're just starting projects or where you maybe even onboard new people in order to make sure that a machine is created. So I was very detail oriented and very focused on different areas, and then basically jumping from area to area with time.
Yeah.
And I think it's needed, actually. I don't think that if you have your idea and your vision and you expect that to be done by others, it's, I would say, impossible. You might be super lucky that you find maybe someone who's like having an own vision, similar, dedicated than you. So that could be a possibility, but I would say in the majority of the cases it's not. So it's needed that you're pushing your own ideas and time into every corner of the company, and also then learning by that and doing mistakes and being able to correct these mistakes. And only when you feel, wow, you really established a certain way of working or already some success, then I think you can scale the success. I mean, it's basically like with what we're doing right now in VC is like, in the beginning, you try to find product market fit. And that's, I think, what you can also do within the company in certain areas to find that product market fit in each area of the company. And then you can scale it. Then you can put others on it and you can teach them and you can make them multiply it. And essentially maybe even optimize it. But yeah, I think it's a balance between being very close and very detail oriented, and then letting go as soon as you want to multiply the success, and then finding the right people who are understanding what you did, and developing it further.
I love what you said earlier about like it's very rare to find people who would take ownership, because as you rightly said, and I had a mentor who said that to me, if you find those people, they're probably actually running their own business because people like that with their own vision actually. So if you, as you said, you cannot just expect to delegate. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs think they can just get someone else to do the things they don't like. And
Of course. No, yeah. And I mean, it's also very difficult, I think. I mean, even though I must say I have worked with amazing people who take an enormous amount of ownership. Yeah. So I would say the ownership component is actually been taken care of. But what I feel, if someone has this unique leadership or entrepreneur ability to take ownership, to take risks, to be innovative, and to be very focused on the execution. This is a very rare combination. And if you have that, then you usually will be more an entrepreneur yourself. But that's something what you're expecting in every area of your company to have. And it's impossible that you get it.
I totally agree with that. And I can see that. And so why do you think most businesses don't achieve their full growth potential?
Yeah, probably because of the team, I would say. Because, I mean, of course, for some businesses, there's a challenge in a limited market. Yeah. And I mean, there might be even a non-existing product market fit, so that the product just doesn't fit. Yeah. But I would say that's often not why companies don't manage, because in the end of the day, there's so many companies around who are pivoting their product and sticking to a general idea and essentially overcome all these challenges. So I would say that the business is probably not successful I would say always in the end of the day, it comes down to the team. And I wouldn't say that this is bad or good in the end of the day either, because sometimes I also felt in my life, and this is also a very good experience to do, is that you need to also ask yourself, is it worth to, let's say, dedicate your life now? Is it worth your time over your kids to run this business or not? So I would say not all businesses are born to survive. Not all businesses are born to become super huge. It's really important what is your own goal with running the business.
I really love that you brought that component in about building your life and really looking at the life you want versus just the business success you want to create. So that's such a powerful point that you brought up. And so what was your journey like exiting the company? Because, I think entrepreneurs are a bit like artists, like you create something and then sometimes you want to hold on to your art or or whatever. But then again, also too, exiting is a kind of holy grail. So what was that journey like for you exiting your companies?
Yeah, I think if you haven't done it, it feels as if it's very far away, and it's maybe even something impossible to do because you're so much into the running operations, and it's just mentally far away.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, I would say it's like everything in life, that if you can't envision it, it's impossible to do. Yes. And as soon as you're starting to envision something, whether you have experience or not, funny enough, the opportunities will come up. I'm a very strong believer that we are creating our lives with the vision we have on our life, and of course we have our own limits. The world has them for us.
Yes.
So essentially, I have seen that, and that's something it got enforced also in my work as a VC, that basically the opportunities come while you're going down the path and already talking about it, envisioning it, listening and speaking to entrepreneurs who have done that, will make you start going on the right path.
What is the number one lesson you learned on that journey of exiting?
That what most people think about exiting in terms of like, oh, I'm out of my business and then I'm happy because of time and money, is not true. Not because of the money component, but also about your happiness component. I've seen many founders who were not at all happy after they exited. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't exit, but it means that I would say this typically, the picture which is typically drawn by media about like, oh, this is the unicorn, then you exit and then you're rich and happy. This is definitely a story which is not true. And exits can come in so many shapes and forms, like they came in my career, where maybe you even made more money before in the company than in your exit, or you exited just right in time, so maybe would have cost you a lot of money to exit later, so, and saved you. For me, I had one exit which definitely saved me 10 years of my life. So I would say also, as soon as you're going into this direction, you will make experiences where you will understand that this whole exit game is not, it's not like in real life, it's not a Disney story, which happens always in the same way. It's basically can have so many shapes and forms, in the good and in the bad. So it's just basically, I would say it's more a new stage of the company, and also your life. Because also in most exits, you're not out of the company immediately, or maybe even not for long, or maybe even not forever. So it's such a big area that I would say it's just a it's another stage of your learning and your career as an entrepreneur, but it's not an end.
I love that you shared this. And so today you are mainly in the ecosystem of being a venture capitalist. You're a partner at XAnge. Can you explain exactly what that entails and how you started in this whole world of being an investor?
Yeah, it's funny for me because I never felt the urge to go into this direction. Also, especially that because when I did some smaller investments in companies, I always felt maybe I should help them, and for me it was very, very hard to stay away from the business and, so to say, not be in there and help them. And of course, if you're focusing on investing, you should become good in that and not trying to run the companies of your portfolio. So I couldn't imagine that for myself. So I did something which helped me a lot, that after a while I started to first be with the company before I invest for a while. Mm-hmm. And when I got the opportunity to look into working as a partner at XAnge, I also took the opportunity first to work with them for a while before I accepted the job. And that has helped me a lot to understand that this is actually completely different game than investing as a business angel. And it's also a completely different industry than the whole, running a startup and being an entrepreneur. Yeah. So it's really like a totally different world. And when I made that experience, I was fascinated to help also founders to understand both worlds better and to build something like a bridge. Yeah. And then, of course, still help founders to run the businesses successful, but to really basically bridge these two areas, which I believe are both from both sides not yet that fully understood. So that made me super excited to start.
Really, I can hear your passion, and it just surely comes alive that what I'm hearing from you, it's not just about investing and what is the return, but I really feel a level of soul and connection to like what they are building, and that deeper, more meaningful layer through how you look at being an investor. And so when you are selecting a company to invest in or partner with, why would you invest in one company over another? Like, what really draws you in?
Yeah, that's an important question, because here we come to the understanding of both sides. I think often you think, oh yeah, you just have to have a certain amount of revenues, and then the team needs to be good, and the market needs to be large, and so on and so forth. So like typical criteria is what you read in the press. Yeah. And then you're ready to go, so to say. But that's essentially absolutely not true, because each fund has their own investment criteria, meaning they're having had already some experiences, good or bad, in certain segments. They do have a certain appetite for certain markets, whether it is right now climate and deep tech, where we are, and of course also some B2B SaaS. But it's very specific what we are looking for in order to fit into our fund. Yes. And based on the experience we had, and based on our scope, but also based on like where we are with the fund right now, meaning do we rather look more for earlier companies or for later stage. So I do feel that often founders underestimate how big our playground is, meaning that often our criteria are so tight that to a lot of opportunities we just have to say no based on what we're looking for, not based on that they are actually bad founders.
Right. So you're saying to founders that it's never something personal, it's just more about what this fund is actually specifically looking for. So when you talk about your fund, and because I know that a lot of investors tend to like certain industries over others, are there specific industries that you are more interested in, that you find more appealing for your portfolio versus others?
Yes. Even though I must say this is, of course, super specific for us. So I encourage everyone who is looking for funding to understand what is each VC looking for, and then addressing or targeting the right ones for your business. We, for example, say no to everything which is not software enabled. So we only have a very few companies where the software part is a smaller part, but most of the time it plays a huge role for the company, which is, for example, our main scope.
Amazing, amazing. And so, what are the biggest mistakes that founders make pitching to investors?
I would say the biggest is really not knowing what the fund is looking for, and you can usually see that by the investment the fund has done already, but also the interest of the partners. That's, I would say, the number one and biggest mistake as well, because it costs you as a founder a lot of time to pitch without having any success potential. And the rest, I would say, is after that, if the scope fits, it's not. It really depends on the on the company more than I would say that you can make a specific mistake, to be honest.
Yeah, I've often heard that it's not so much about the business, but more about the people. Is that true when you're looking at a project to invest in? Do you look at more about the attributes of the founder than the actual product itself?
Yeah, that's interesting, because that's definitely too general statement. That is true if you're looking at very early companies. So if you're in the pre-seed or in the seed phase, the personality of the founder plays the biggest role, essentially because there is not yet that much to see in terms of the company, and you put all your hope into the founder, right? Yes. But on a later stage, I would say it's not at all true, because in the end of the day, you look at the founder, but also at the potential of the business idea in terms of the market, and then of the product itself. And if you have already numbers who could show a certain product market fit, then that is very important, because it's not let's say it's a hygienic factor. If that's not a good, then you can't continue. If it's good, then of course the other factors play a big role.
Very good. I'm happy that you made that distinction. And so I want to ask you, what is your advice for female founders?
Yeah, this is really funny, because of course, I would love that let's say women and men have the same amount of, let's say, chances and do the same type of careers. But I must say, we have to also face that we are different. So it's not, let's say, I do also understand that a lot of women don't want to be an entrepreneur, because we do want to have children. And I think it's also a Disney promise. If you think, oh yeah, you can have an easy life as a founder, it's definitely not that, right? It's 24/7. That's it. And you need to have a super high level of dedication to it. And I, for example, still fighting with my health now, after many, many years later, because I had 10 years or 15 years where I only slept 4 hours. So I would first say, is it really necessary that we put the same standards, let's say, to both genders? I would say, maybe I'm too conservative, but I would say, no, actually not. And based on that, I feel women are, in general, and I'm happy to be able to say that as a woman, because I think a man wouldn't be allowed to say that, but we take feedback more personal. We are more emotional. And we, let's say, I think we very fast say, okay, if they don't want us, then, or if they don't want this, or if they don't like this, then I give up. Yeah. And it's obvious that this is not a good strategy if you want to succeed. And I think that doesn't have anything to do that they are men deciding. Men are just looking at things more sporty in the sense that they don't care. There's like, okay, I fight, and if I lose, but that doesn't stop me from going out to fight tomorrow. And that's something which is just so deeply rooted into our genetics, I would say, that men don't care if they don't bring home the elephant, right? Because they learned that over thousands of years. We do care if we don't bring back our elephant because our kids scream. So I think it's like so deeply rooted that it's difficult to really compare. So meaning that if you really want to, let's say, make it as an entrepreneur, you probably have to be a little bit male in your approach, so to say. So it is something where you have to consciously say, maybe it's really hard for me and maybe harder than for a man, but that's genetically the case. On the other hand, we do have a lot of benefits on the other hand. So I mean, I was often thinking that, yes, I mean, to be honest, like a lot of doors for me opened because maybe at least 10 years ago, you're a young girl and you look nice, and I think that's fine. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I honestly think that's totally okay-ish. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I do think that a lot of men have actually disadvantage over a woman which is successful and looking good. So, I mean, that's it. So I think we should be realistic about it and say we have, I mean, on some things we might have it harder, and the confidence to have the confidence and actually not to give up, even though we get 3,109 no's, is something really necessary to do. And we need to be aware that, we are playing on some ends a man game and in some ends a woman game, and both have its advantages and disadvantages.
I love that you shared that, because very early in my entrepreneurial journey, I actually had to sit myself down and make that distinction that whatever I was experiencing was not personal to me, and that it's business. Like I literally had to take that approach of, this is business. It has nothing to do with me. Okay, it's a no, like next. Because as you rightly said, there is that, I call it the balance between Athena and our inner Athena and Aphrodite. And it's that balance, the dance between the masculine and feminine approach to business, which both have a very solid place. And as you said, not being ashamed of your femininity, because it has its advantages. As you said, many doors can open for you because you're a woman. And so I really love that you share that, because sometimes people are waiting for permission, or they haven't given themselves permission to embrace all of these different facets of themselves that can be an advantage in the journey.
Totally 100% agree.
Oh my goodness, Valerie, it was so great to connect with you. I'm so glad that you made the time. I know that you are super busy and you have your vacation and lots of travel coming up. So I truly appreciated you taking the time today to share your voice. I know it's going to inspire so many women. And I want to thank you for being you. When I met you in Munich at Bits and Press, I was truly blown away by your story. Not so much about of course, what you achieved in life has been impressive, but what I loved was your vulnerability and what you shared about your own journey, having that awareness within yourself, within your leadership, and that self-awareness aspect. So I really, truly want you to know that you're a beacon of light, and I'm so happy to share your voice with for more women to hear you.
Thanks so much for these absolutely heartwarming warming words. So thanks so much for that. And I mean, just to add on this was a pretty tough journey, so to say. So everything which breaks you open, and I think that's beautiful. So from that sense, it's beautiful always to get that feedback. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, and have an amazing time traveling, and we will be in touch. What a powerful interview with Valerie. She went from dreaming of being an entrepreneur, not really knowing when it would happen, to building and selling her company for 100 million euros. This is an incredible story, and today she's helping entrepreneurs reach their full potential as a venture capitalist. What were your takeaways in this interview? So much here about building a business, exiting a business, taking care of yourself, and also owning your femininity if you're a female founder in the journey. I invite you to visit www.culturelife.org for more resources, and as always, live the cultured life.